Nicole, please. You have to tell them the truth. Emily Carter grabbed my wrist outside the Student Union building, her eyes already filled with tears. The sight should have broken my heart. It used to. 3 years ago, I would have immediately pulled out my phone, gathered everyone involved, and explained everything for her. I would have spent hours proving that Emily wasn't the person the rumors made her look like. I would have defended her even if it meant everyone hated me instead, because that was who I was. The girl who believed being a good friend meant sacrificing herself. But this time, I simply looked at her hand around my wrist and slowly removed it. Nicole! Emily stared at me. What are you doing? I adjusted my backpack and answered calmly. I'm going to the library. Her expression changed instantly. The library? Yes, but everyone is talking about me right now. I know. Then why aren't you helping me? That question almost made me laugh. Not because it was funny, because I had heard the exact same words before. Only in my previous life, I had answered differently. Back then, when Emily was accused of copying another student's research notes, she cried in front of me and begged me to help her prove her innocence. I believed her without hesitation. I spent 2 days collecting evidence, contacting classmates, and explaining the situation. I skipped my own presentation preparation because I wanted to clear her name. In the end, I succeeded. Everyone apologized to Emily, and then the professor discovered my presentation was incomplete. I lost the scholarship opportunity one had worked for months to earn. Emily told everyone she never asked me to help her. She said I made my own choice. When I confronted her, she only smiled and said, Nicole, you're too sensitive. I thought you helped because you wanted to. That sentence stayed with me until the day I died. I remembered everything. The betrayal, the humiliation, the years I spent cleaning up problems that were never mine. And now I had been given another chance. The first thing I changed was simple. I stopped saving people who were willing to watch me drown. Nicole, are you seriously leaving? Emily's voice became sharper. You know what people are saying about me. Yes. And you don't care? I looked at her. For a moment, I saw the old Emily. The one who knew exactly how to make me feel guilty. The one who always looked helpless whenever she needed something. But I also saw the truth. She wasn't asking me for friendship. She was asking me for a shield. I care, I said. Her eyes softened. Then help me. I shook my head. I care about what happened, but it doesn't mean I have to fix it. Emily froze. That was the first time I had ever said no to her. You're different. Yes. Why? Because I had already died once because I kept putting everyone else first. Because I knew exactly where this road would lead. Because I finally understood that kindness without boundaries was just another way to destroy myself. But I didn't say any of that. I simply replied, because I learned something. What? That my life belongs to me. Emily stared at me like she didn't recognize me anymore. Before she could respond, I turned around and walked toward the library. Every step felt strange. Not because I was afraid, because for the first time in years, I wasn't walking toward someone else's problems. I was walking toward my own future. The library was quieter than I remembered. I found an empty seat near the window and placed my books on the table. My hands were steady. That surprised me. In my previous life, I would have been shaking by now, wondering if Emily was angry, wondering if everyone hated me, wondering if I had made the wrong choice. Not today. I opened my laptop and started reviewing the application requirements for the Henderson Academic Fellowship. This was the opportunity one lost before, the one that could have changed my entire future. I remembered exactly what happened. The deadline was in 5 days. I had prepared everything. My research paper, my recommendation letters, my presentation. Then Emily called me crying. I abandoned everything for her. And by the time I returned, it was too late. This time, nothing would stop me. Nicole! I looked up. A familiar face stood beside my table. Jason Miller, the top student in our department. In my previous life, Jason had tried to talk to me several times about my research, but I was always too busy helping Emily. I barely noticed him. Jason. He smiled slightly. I didn't expect to see you here. Why? Because usually, whenever Emily has a problem, you're the first person everyone looks for. His words weren't meant to hurt me, but they reminded me how predictable I used to be. I'm changing my schedule. Jason raised an eyebrow. That's a good thing. I looked at him. You think so? Definitely. He placed a folder on the table. I actually wanted to ask you something. What? Are you still working on the medical research project from last semester? I hesitated. Yes. I read your draft. I was surprised. You did? Professor Adams showed it to me. He said your analysis was one of the strongest he had seen from a student. That was something I never knew, because in my previous life I never stayed long enough to hear praise. I was always too busy protecting someone else. Jason continued, I think you should submit it for the fellowship. I looked down at my laptop. I'm planning to. Good. He smiled. Don't let anyone convince you that your work matters less than theirs. The sentence was simple, but somehow it hit harder than he expected, because that was exactly what I had done. For years, I had treated everyone else's problems like emergencies and my own dreams like something that could wait. Not anymore. That afternoon, my phone kept vibrating. Messages, dozens of them. Most were from classmates asking about Emily's rumor. Some asked why I wasn't saying anything. Others asked if Emily was really innocent. Then one message appeared. From Emily. I thought you were my best friend. I stared at the screen. A year ago, that message would have destroyed me. Today, I simply locked my phone. A few minutes later, another message came. If you don't explain, everyone will think I did something wrong. I almost replied. Almost. But then I remembered the future I had already lived. The tears, the excuses, the betrayal. I deleted the notification. For the first time, I let someone else deal with the consequences of their own choices. The next morning, something unexpected happened. When I walked into class, the room became unusually quiet. Not because of me, because everyone was looking at Emily. She stood near the front desk, holding a printed document. Her face was pale. Then she saw me. Nicole. Her voice carried across the classroom. Why didn't you tell them? Everyone turned toward me. I knew this moment was coming, but I didn't expect what she said next. You were the only person who knew the truth. The classroom went silent. Emily looked at me, and then she said something that changed everything. Tell them I'm innocent. Everyone waited for my answer, but this time, I wasn't going to save her, not without knowing the truth. I closed my notebook and stood up. Before I say anything, I looked directly at Emily. I want to ask you one question. Her expression changed. What question? I took a breath. Why did you need me to defend you if you were telling the truth? The entire classroom waited for Emily's answer. She had always been good at controlling situations. That was one thing I had to admit. Emily knew when to cry. She knew when to lower her voice. She knew exactly how to make people feel like they had to protect her. But this time something was different, because I wasn't standing beside her. I wasn't stepping forward to explain. I wasn't saying, Emily would never do that. For the first time, she had to face the questions herself. Nicole, what do you mean by that? Emily's expression changed slightly. I could see the confusion in her eyes. She expected me to defend her. She expected the old Nicole, the girl who would immediately say, everyone misunderstood her. But that girl was gone. I mean exactly what I said, I replied. If you didn't do anything wrong, why are you asking me to prove it instead of proving it yourself? The room became uncomfortable. A few students exchanged looks. Emily opened her mouth, but no words came out immediately. That had never happened before. Usually, whenever she was cornered, I was the person who rescued her. Not anymore. "Nicole," she finally said, lowering her voice, "I thought you trusted me." I did. My answer surprised her, and that was my mistake. The moment those words left my mouth, I saw several people react. They weren't expecting that. Neither was Emily. She looked hurt. But I knew the difference between someone being hurt and someone losing control of a situation. This was the second one. "Are you saying you don't believe me?" she asked. "I'm saying I won't decide the truth based only on emotions." The classroom went quiet. Professor Adams entered at that moment, stopping the discussion. Everyone returned to their seats. But the atmosphere had already changed. For years, people saw Emily and me as a pair. Wherever Emily went, Nicole followed. Wherever Emily had trouble, Nicole appeared. No one questioned it. Until today, after class ended, Emily waited outside the door. I knew she would. The moment I walked out, she stepped in front of me. "Can we talk?" I looked at my schedule. "I have somewhere to be." Her eyebrows tightened. "Seriously?" "Yes. You used to drop everything for me." I nodded. "I know." "Then why are you acting like I'm a stranger?" "Because in my previous life I gave you everything. And when I had nothing left, you walked away." "But I didn't say that. Some truths were too valuable to give away too easily." "I'm not acting like you're a stranger, Emily." "Then what are you doing?" "Learning how to have boundaries." She stared at me. "You're angry at me." "No." "Then why does it feel like you hate me?" That sentence almost made me sigh, because that was Emily's biggest talent, turning a simple refusal into a personal attack. "I don't hate you." "Then help me." Again, the same request, the same expectation. I looked at her carefully. "Tell me something, Emily." "What?" "Did you come here because you wanted to tell me the truth?" She hesitated, only for a second, but I noticed. Or maybe the old Nicole would have ignored it. "What do you mean?" "I mean, did you come to explain what happened?" Emily looked away. "I just need you to tell everyone I didn't do it." There it was, the answer I expected. She didn't want a conversation. She wanted my reputation to become her evidence. "I can't do that." Her face immediately changed. "You can't." "No." "Why?" "Because I don't know what happened. But you know me. I knew the person I believed you were." That sentence hit harder than I intended. Emily stepped back. For a moment, she looked genuinely hurt. But then her expression hardened. "You really changed." "Yes. And you don't even care what happens to me." I picked up my bag. "I hope you solve it." Then I walked away. The next few days were completely different from my previous life. Before, my entire schedule revolved around Emily. Now I spent my time in the library. I prepared my fellowship application. I reviewed my research. I met with Professor Adams. Slowly, people began noticing. "Nicole, you're actually applying for the Henderson Fellowship?" One classmate asked me during lunch. "Yes." "I thought you gave up on that." I looked up. "Why would I?" The student looked uncomfortable. "Because last year Emily needed your help during the application period." I smiled slightly. "That doesn't mean my goals disappear." The student nodded. "I guess you're right." That simple conversation reminded me how much I had lost. Not because Emily stole my opportunities, because I handed them away. A week later, the fellowship committee announced the first round results. My name was on the list. I stared at the screen. Nicole Parker, selected for the final interview. In my previous life, my name was never there. I remembered crying in my dorm room after seeing the rejection email. I remembered Emily sending me a message saying, "Don't worry, maybe this just wasn't meant for you." At the time, I believed her. Now I understood. Sometimes people didn't want you to fail because they hated you. Sometimes they just preferred you to stay behind them. That evening, I received another unexpected message. From Emily. We need to talk. It's about the rumor. I ignored it. Then another message appeared. Nicole, please. Someone else knows the truth now. I paused. Someone else? Before I could reply, a new message came through. This time it wasn't from Emily. It was from Jason. Nicole, you need to be careful. I found something strange about Emily's story. I stared at the screen. My first instinct was curiosity. My second instinct was caution. Because in my previous life, I never investigated anything. I simply trusted. But now I knew one thing. The truth would not come to me because I wanted it. I had to find it myself. I quickly replied, What did you find? Jason answered almost immediately. The rumor wasn't started by accident. I felt my expression change. Then his next message appeared. And Nicole, the person who spread it, may not be who everyone thinks. For the first time since my rebirth, I realized something. Changing my own choices had already changed the entire story. And this time, I wasn't just watching my past repeat. I was creating a different future. Jason's message stayed on my mind all night. The rumor wasn't started by accident. Those words should have surprised me, but strangely they didn't. Because after living one life already, I knew something important. People rarely destroyed others with one huge action. Most of the time, it started with small choices. A sentence whispered in the hallway. A screenshot shared between friends. A story changed slightly every time someone repeated it. By the time the truth appeared, everyone already believed the lie. That was exactly what happened to me before. And this time, I refused to let it happen again. The next morning, I met Jason in the library, the same place where I had chosen myself for the first time. He placed his laptop on the table and opened a folder. I checked the messages from the student forum. I frowned. Why did you check them? Because something didn't make sense. Jason pointed at the screen. The first post appeared at 8:15 p.m. The person claimed Emily cheated during the research project. I nodded. Okay. But the person who posted it deleted the account 10 minutes later. That happens. Yes, Jason said. But what happened next doesn't. He opened another page. 5 minutes after that post disappeared, someone uploaded a second post defending Emily. I looked carefully. The second post had dozens of comments. Everyone was comforting Emily, calling her innocent, saying the person who accused her was jealous. I understood immediately. Someone created the problem. Then, someone else created the rescue. It made Emily look like a victim. Who posted the second one? Jason pointed to the username. I recognized it. One of Emily's closest friends, Rachel. Jason nodded. She and Emily have been friends since freshman year. I leaned back. So, you think Emily created the rumor herself? I don't know. Jason closed the laptop. And I don't want to accuse someone without proof. That answer surprised me. In my previous life, I surrounded myself with people who reacted emotionally. Jason was different. He looked for facts. Thank you for showing me this. He smiled. You're welcome. Then he hesitated. Nicole. Yes. You know you don't have to protect Emily anymore, right? I looked at him. I know. Good. That simple conversation felt strange, because nobody had ever told me that before. Nobody had ever reminded me that I was allowed to choose myself. Later that day, I went to Professor Adams' office. I wanted to discuss my fellowship application. In my previous life, I never came here. I was too busy helping Emily prepare her own projects. Professor Adams looked surprised when he saw me. Nicole, I was wondering when you would come. I smiled. Were you? Yes. He picked up a document from his desk. Your research paper was excellent. Thank you. I actually wanted to ask why you never submitted it last year. I froze for a second. Not because I was afraid, because I remembered the answer. I never submitted it because Emily needed me. I gave up my chance. I had other priorities. Professor Adams looked at me. Were they more important than your future? The question was simple, but it stayed with me. No. He nodded. Good. Because talent is wasted when people keep waiting for the perfect time. I accepted his advice. Before leaving, he handed me another form. What is this? A recommendation opportunity. My eyes widened. For me? Yes. Why? Professor Adams smiled. Because this time you actually showed up. Those words almost made me laugh. Showed up. That was what I had failed to do. Not because I wasn't capable, because I was always somewhere else, solving someone else's problems. That evening, the campus atmosphere changed again. I was walking back to my dorm when I heard voices behind me. You're really going to ignore Emily forever? I turned around. Rachel stood there, the girl from the forum. She crossed her arms. I'm not ignoring her. Then why won't you help her? Because I don't know the truth. Rachel's expression became cold. You were her best friend. Friendship doesn't mean blindly supporting someone. She laughed. That's easy for you to say now. I studied her. What does that mean? Rachel stepped closer. You know Emily is suffering because of you. I almost smiled, because that sentence sounded familiar. Everyone had blamed me before. Not the person who caused the problem. Not the person who benefited. Me. The person who stopped fixing everything. Rachel, I said calmly, if Emily is innocent, evidence will prove it. And if people hate her before that, then maybe she should answer their questions herself. Rachel looked at me like I had become someone completely different. Maybe I had. That night, Emily called me. I almost didn't answer, but something in her voice made me pause. Nicole, what happened? I need to ask you something. Okay. Do you really think I did it? I stayed silent for a moment, not because I didn't know what to say, because I wanted to answer honestly. I don't know. Emily inhaled sharply. You don't trust me. I trust facts. You used to believe me. Yes. Then why can't you now? I looked at the dark screen in front of me, because I remembered what happened when I believed too easily, because I learned that trusting someone doesn't mean ignoring everything. Emily didn't respond. Then she whispered, You really changed. Yes. Was it because of me? That question caught me off guard, because the answer was complicated. My old pain, my old regret, my old life, everything was because of her. But this new life was because of me. No, I said. It was because of myself. After hanging up, I felt strangely calm. For the first time, I wasn't waiting for Emily to understand me. I was waiting for myself to become the person I always should have been. The next morning, the university announced a shocking update. The investigation into the rumor had officially begun, and the first person called in for questioning was not Emily. It was Rachel. When I saw the announcement, I knew something had changed. The story was moving in a direction I had never seen before. But then another message arrived. From an unknown number. Only one sentence. Nicole, if you want to know why Emily needed you so badly, meet me tonight. Come alone. I stared at the message. I had no idea who sent it, but I knew one thing. The past I remembered was no longer the past I was living. And someone was trying to reveal a secret that even my previous life had never uncovered. I stared at the unknown message for almost a minute. Come alone. Those 3 words were enough to make anyone suspicious. In my previous life, I would have gone immediately. Not because I was brave, because I was careless. I always believed that if someone needed help, I had to be there, even if it was dangerous, even if it hurt me. But this time I didn't rush. I saved the message. Then I forwarded it to Jason. A few seconds later, my phone rang. You received a strange message? Jason's voice sounded serious. Yes. Are you planning to meet this person? I haven't decided. Good. I smiled slightly. Good. Yes, because the old Nicole would already be halfway there. I looked down. He was right. The old me would have run toward a problem. The new me wanted to understand it first. Can you help me check the number? I'll try. 10 minutes later, Jason called again. I couldn't find the owner. That's not helpful. It is actually. How? Because whoever sent it doesn't want to be found. I understood. Someone had hidden their identity. That meant they were either afraid or planning something. That evening, I didn't go to the meeting location alone. I asked Jason to stay nearby, not because I couldn't handle myself, because I finally understood something. Being independent didn't mean refusing help. It meant choosing who deserved to stand beside you. The meeting place was a small cafe near campus. When I arrived, I immediately recognized the person sitting in the corner. Rachel. I stopped. She looked nervous. You came. I sat across from her. You sent the message. She nodded. Yes. Why? Rachel looked around before lowering her voice. Because I think someone is using Emily. I frowned. That's a big accusation. I know. Then explain. Rachel took a deep breath. The rumor about Emily wasn't supposed to become this serious. I studied her carefully. What do you mean? She looked uncomfortable. I was the one who posted the first message. I wasn't surprised, but I wanted to know why. Why? Rachel looked down. Because I was angry. At Emily? No. She hesitated. At you. I was silent. Me. Rachel nodded. You don't remember, do you? Remember what? Last year. My expression changed, because there were many things I remembered, but apparently not everything. Rachel continued. During the research competition, everyone thought Emily would win. That's normal. No. She shook her head. Everyone thought she would win because you were helping her. I didn't respond. You were doing most of the work. The words hit me, because deep down I knew. I just refused to admit it. Rachel continued. Emily always told people you were helping because you admired her. My hands tightened slightly. She said that. Yes. A cold feeling spread through me. Not because I was angry, because suddenly many things made sense. The reason people thought I was just Emily's assistant. The reason nobody noticed my efforts. The reason my own achievements disappeared behind hers. Rachel looked at me. I thought if Emily lost her perfect image, people would finally see what happened. So you created a rumor? I didn't expect it to become so big. I shook my head. That doesn't make it okay. I know. Rachel looked guilty, but someone else changed everything. Who? She hesitated. Emily. I stared at her. No. Rachel nodded. Yes. Why? Because after I posted the rumor, Emily contacted me. My heart beat faster. What did she say? Rachel pulled out her phone. She asked me to keep it going. She showed me the messages. I read them carefully. Emily's words were clear. Make people feel sorry for me. Nicole will fix it. She always does. I stopped breathing for a moment. Not because I was shocked. Because I remembered. The same pattern. Every time Emily had a problem, I became the solution. Rachel whispered. I thought she would just let you defend her again. I looked away from the screen. She knew. Yes. She knew I would come. Yes. That was the part that hurt. Not that she used me. I already knew that. The painful part was realizing she understood me better than I understood myself. She knew exactly what kind of person I was, and she used my kindness as a weapon. I left the cafe without saying anything else. My mind was full, not with anger, with clarity. When I returned to my dorm, Emily was waiting outside. The timing was almost perfect. Too perfect. Nicole. I stopped. She looked tired. Can we talk? I looked at her. This time I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel responsible. I just wanted answers. Did you know? Her face changed. Know what? About the rumor. She became quiet. That was enough. You knew. Nicole, wait. No. My voice was calm. Answer me. Emily looked around. Can we not do this here? Why? Because people are watching. I almost laughed. Even now. Even after everything. She cared about how she looked. I'm asking you a question. Emily lowered her voice. I didn't start it. That wasn't my question. She looked at me, and for the first time, she looked afraid. Did you know? A long pause. Then she whispered, yes. The answer finally came. The truth I never discovered in my previous life. She knew. She knew from the beginning. I looked at her. Why didn't you tell me? Emily's eyes became red. Because I knew you would help me. There it was. The sentence that explained everything. I felt something inside me finally break. Not my heart. Something else. The last piece of hope I had for the person I thought she was. You didn't trust me. Emily shook her head. No. She stepped closer. I trusted you too much. I looked at her. What does that mean? It means I knew you would never leave me. Her words were honest, and somehow that honesty hurt more, because she wasn't apologizing. She was explaining, as if using me was natural. I stepped back. Emily, that's not trust. Then what is it? I answered quietly. A habit. Her face turned pale. Before she could respond, my phone rang. It was Professor Adams. I answered. Hello. His voice was urgent. Nicole, I need you to come to my office immediately. What happened? The fellowship committee received a complaint. My expression changed. What complaint? A few seconds of silence passed. Then Professor Adams said, someone reported that your research paper was not entirely your own. I looked at Emily. She was standing right in front of me, and suddenly I understood. This was not just about the old rumor anymore. Someone was trying to destroy the future I had just started building. And this time, I wouldn't run away. For a few seconds, I couldn't hear anything except Professor Adams' voice. Nicole, are you still there? Yes. My fingers tightened around my phone. I'm coming. I ended the call. Emily was still standing in front of me. She looked at my expression and immediately realized something had happened. What's wrong? I looked at her. The fellowship committee received a complaint. Her face changed. What kind of complaint? Someone said my research paper wasn't completely my own. Emily's eyes widened. That's impossible. The speed of her answer surprised me. Not because she defended me, because she answered before knowing any details. I watched her carefully. How do you know? She froze. What? I didn't tell you what they accused me of. Emily opened her mouth, then closed it. That small reaction told me more than any explanation could. You knew. Nicole, no. You knew someone was going after me. That's not what I meant. Then explain. Emily looked nervous. For the first time, she wasn't the person everyone wanted to protect. She was the person being questioned. I heard something. From who? She looked away. Emily. She sighed. Rachel mentioned it. I almost smiled. Of course. Everyone was connected. Everyone knew something. Except me, the person who was always cleaning up the damage. I have to go. Nicole, wait. I stopped. Please don't think I did this. I turned around. Then help me prove you didn't. Her expression changed, because that was the first time I had asked her for something, and she didn't know how to respond. Professor Adams' office was already crowded when I arrived. 2 committee members sat across from his desk. My research paper was printed in front of them. Nicole Parker? Yes. One of the professors looked at me. Please sit. I sat down. The woman across from me opened the file. We received an anonymous complaint claiming your research contains copied material. That's false. Can you prove it? Yes. I opened my laptop. I have all my drafts, notes, and research records. The professor nodded. That will help. Professor Adams looked at me. Nicole, do you know anyone who might want to damage your application? The first person who appeared in my mind was Emily, but I didn't answer immediately because I had learned something. Suspicion was not proof. No. The professor studied me. Think carefully. I did. There were many possibilities. People who disliked me. People who wanted the fellowship. People who wanted Emily protected. But there was one thing I knew. Whoever did this understood my weakness. They knew my research was the most important thing to me. They knew this opportunity mattered. And they chose the exact moment when I finally started moving forward. After leaving Professor Adams' office, Jason was waiting outside. How bad is it? I told him everything. His expression became serious. Someone is trying to copy the same strategy. What do you mean? Before, they attacked Emily's reputation. And now they're attacking yours. I nodded. The pattern was obvious. Destroy someone's credibility. Make people question them. Then let everyone believe the rumor before the truth appears. But why me? Jason looked at me. You know why? I didn't answer. Because I did. The fellowship. My research. My future. Those were things I never fought for before. And now that I finally wanted them, someone wanted to take them away. That night, I reviewed every piece of my research. Every note. Every file. Every email. I refused to sleep. Not because I was afraid. Because I remembered what happened before. In my previous life, when I lost the scholarship, I accepted it. I thought maybe I wasn't good enough. I thought maybe some people were simply meant to succeed while others supported them. I was wrong. I wasn't less talented. I was just too busy giving my chances away. At midnight, Jason sent me a message. I found something. I immediately called him. What? I checked the complaint file. How? Don't ask. I smiled slightly. That sounds illegal. Maybe. Jason. Relax. I only looked at public information. Okay, what did you find? There was a pause. The complaint was submitted using a university account. My expression changed. Whose account? I'm not sure. Then why are you telling me? Because the account accessed your research folder before the complaint. My heart sank. Someone accessed my private folder? Yes. Who? Jason sent me a screenshot. A name appeared. My hands stopped moving because I recognized it. Emily Carter. I stared at the screen. No, that didn't make sense. Emily had access to some old shared documents because we worked together before. But my current research folder? She shouldn't. I called Jason. Are you sure? I checked twice. Could someone else use her account? Possible. But Nicole, the login happened yesterday. Yesterday. The same day she asked me why I wouldn't defend her. The same day she found out I had changed. I closed my eyes. Everything suddenly connected. The rumor. The fellowship complaint. The timing. Emily's fear. But something still bothered me. Why would she attack my research? She knew how much it meant to me. Unless she didn't see it as an attack. Maybe she saw it as something else. A way to force me back into the old role. The girl who needed her. The girl who had no time for herself. The next morning, Emily found me before class. She looked exhausted. Nicole. I kept walking. Wait. I stopped. What? I heard about the complaint. And I am sorry. That surprised me. Not because she apologized. Because she actually looked sincere. I didn't do it. EDSA. Then prove it. She looked hurt. Why don't you believe me? Because believing you is not the same as knowing the truth. She lowered her voice. I know you think I'm a terrible person. I don't. Then what do you think? I looked at her. I think you're someone who got used to me fixing everything. Her eyes became red. That's not fair. No. No. She shook her head. I never wanted you to lose anything. I looked at her. Then why did I always lose something? She couldn't answer. For the first time, she had no perfect explanation. Then my phone rang. Professor Adams. I answered. Nicole, we finished checking the evidence. My heart tightened. What did you find? His voice became serious. The complaint was not random. I waited. There is evidence someone deliberately altered the document history. Who? Another pause. Then he said, Nicole, the person who changed the file used your old, shared research account. I looked at Emily, and I knew the next truth was going to change everything. The shared research account. Professor Adams' words repeated in my mind. I tightened my grip on the phone. Yes, he continued. The account was originally created for your group project last year. The system shows that someone used it to edit your research documents. My eyes moved toward Emily. She looked confused. Or maybe she was trying to look confused. I had spent years believing I could understand her emotions. But now I realized something. I never truly understood her. I only understood what I wanted to believe. Professor, can you tell me who accessed it? We're still investigating, but there is one thing. What? The person knew exactly which files to change. I lowered my voice. Meaning this wasn't someone randomly trying to harm you. They knew your research. After ending the call, I stood there quietly. Emily watched me. Nicole. I looked at her. Did you ever access my research folder? Her face immediately changed. What? Answer me. No. The answer came quickly. Too quickly. Are you sure? Yes. She looked hurt. Do you really think I would do that? I wanted to say yes. I wanted to say no. The truth was complicated, because the Emily from my memories and the Emily standing in front of me felt like two different people. I don't know. Those 3 words hurt her more than an accusation. She stepped back. You really don't trust me anymore. I didn't respond, because she was right. I didn't, but not because of one rumor, because of everything that happened before. The investigation continued for several days. During that time, I focused only on proving my work was mine. I collected every draft, every timestamp, every research note, every email exchange with Professor Adams. I refused to let fear control me. That was the biggest difference between my old life and this one. Before, when something went wrong, I looked for someone to save. Now I looked for a solution. Jason helped me organize the evidence. You know something? He said while reviewing the files. What? You're calmer than I expected. I smiled. Is that surprising? A little. Why? Because most people would panic if their biggest opportunity was threatened. I looked at the documents. I already lost it once. Jason looked at me. What? I realized what I said. I quickly changed the subject. I know what it feels like to lose an opportunity. He didn't question it. Instead, he nodded. That's probably why you're stronger now. Stronger. That was a word I never used for myself before. 3 days later, the committee called another meeting. This time, there were more people present. Professor Adams, the fellowship committee, and Emily. I wasn't surprised to see her. Actually, I expected it. The moment I entered the room, everyone looked at me. The professor spoke first. Nicole, we've completed the investigation. I sat down. Okay. He placed several documents on the table. The complaint against your research was based on altered information. I nodded. I know. The person who submitted the complaint also attempted to damage the original files. Everyone looked serious. Then the professor continued, but we recovered the original version. He handed me the document. I looked at it. Everything was there. My work, my ideas, my research, the thing I had almost lost again. Thank you. Professor Adams nodded. There is one more matter. I looked up. What? He glanced at Emily. The person who accessed the shared account has been identified. The room became tense. Emily's hands tightened. I already knew, but I still wanted to hear it. Who? Professor Adams answered. Emily Carter. No one spoke. Emily immediately stood up. No. Her voice was shaking. I didn't do this. Professor Adams remained calm. The login information belongs to your account. Someone could have used my account. Yes. He nodded. That is possible. Emily looked relieved for a second, but there is more. The relief disappeared. We found messages between you and Rachel. Emily's face turned pale. What messages? Rachel was sitting in the corner. She looked down. Professor Adams opened another file. Messages discussing how to make Nicole lose the fellowship opportunity. I looked at Emily. She didn't move. She didn't deny it immediately. That was enough. Because before, she always had an answer. Always. Now she didn't. Emily. My voice was quiet. She looked at me. Tell me the truth. Her eyes became red. Nicole, did you do it? A long silence followed. Then she whispered, I didn't mean for it to go this far. That answer hurt more than a confession, because it meant she wasn't denying it. You did. She shook her head. No, listen. Then explain. She wiped her tears. I was scared. Scared of what? That you were leaving me behind. I frowned. What? You changed after the library. I almost laughed, because that was the first time someone had admitted it. My change wasn't invisible. People noticed. You started becoming better. Everyone started noticing you. Emily, I was always the one people cared about. Her voice became softer. Then suddenly everyone was talking about Nicole Parker. I stared at her. So you tried to stop me? No. Then what was it? She looked down. I just wanted things to go back. Back. That single word explained everything. She didn't want me to succeed. Not because she hated me. Because my success meant the old relationship between us was gone. She wanted the Nicole who followed her. The Nicole who needed her. Not the Nicole standing in front of her. After the meeting ended, Emily followed me outside. Nicole, please. I stopped. I am sorry. I looked at her. I know. She seemed surprised. You know? Yes. Then can you forgive me? I thought about my previous life, the years I spent helping her, the opportunities one lost, the pain I carried. Then I answered honestly, I don't know. Her eyes filled with tears. I really am sorry. I believe you. Then why? Because forgiveness doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. She looked at me. What happens now? I picked up my bag. Now I live my life. Those words were simple, but they were the words I had been waiting my entire life to say. That evening, I received an email from the fellowship committee. The investigation was complete. My application would continue, but there was one more message attached. A special recommendation from Professor Adams, and at the bottom of the email was a note. Nicole Parker, your greatest achievement was not proving your research was original. It was finally choosing yourself. I closed my laptop. For the first time since my rebirth, I felt free. But I also knew something. This wasn't the end, because the person who wanted me to fail had been exposed. Yet the damage caused by my old choices was still waiting to be repaired. And somewhere ahead, there was still a future I had to rebuild. For the next few days, campus felt different. Not because people were talking less. Actually, there were more conversations than before. But this time, I wasn't the person standing in the middle of the storm. I was watching from a distance. That was something I had never experienced before. In my previous life, every problem became my responsibility. Every rumor became my battle. Every person's disappointment became something I had to fix. Now, I simply walked to class, attended meetings, and worked on my research. People looked at me differently. Some apologized. Some avoided me. Some acted like nothing had happened. But I no longer needed everyone to understand me. I only needed to understand myself. One afternoon, I was leaving the research building when Emily appeared. She looked different, not physically, something else. The confidence she always carried was gone. Nicole. I stopped. We need to talk. I looked at my watch. I have 10 minutes. She nodded. Thank you. That sentence surprised me, because before, Emily never thanked me for giving her time. She assumed she already had it. We sat on a bench outside the building. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then Emily finally said, I know you probably hate me. I don't. She looked at me. You don't. No. Why? Because hate means I'm still holding on to something. She lowered her eyes. And you're not. No. That answer seemed to hurt her. But it was the truth. I had spent too much of my previous life carrying anger. I didn't want to carry it anymore. Emily took a deep breath. I want to tell you everything. I nodded. Okay. She looked nervous. When the first rumor appeared, I was scared. I know. No, you don't. She shook her head. I wasn't scared because people would hate me. I looked at her. Then why? Because I knew you would see the truth. That surprised me. What? Emily smiled sadly. You always saw things other people didn't. I didn't answer. Because she was right. That was probably why she needed me. I noticed details. I solved problems. I believed people. And she knew that. I knew if you investigated, everything would disappear. Because I would prove you innocent. She nodded. Yes. I looked away, and that was the problem. Emily's voice became quiet. I knew you would do it. She continued. After freshman year, everyone started comparing us. I frowned. Comparing us? Yes. She laughed bitterly. You were smarter than me. Your grades were better. Professors liked your ideas. That's not true. It was. Her honesty surprised me. You just never noticed because you were always helping me. I stayed quiet. Emily looked at her hands. I liked being the person everyone noticed. I understood. But when you started focusing on yourself, people started seeing you. Yes. And I didn't know how to handle that. So you tried to pull me back. She nodded. I thought if you needed me again, things would go back. I looked at her. You wanted me to stay the old Nicole. Yes. The answer came without hesitation. That honesty was painful, but it was also the first real apology she had given me. I am sorry. Emily's voice shook. I know sorry doesn't fix anything. No, but I still need to say it. She looked at me. I used your kindness. I didn't respond. I knew you would choose me over yourself. That sentence was the hardest one to hear, because it was true. I knew you would give up opportunities. She wiped her eyes, and I convinced myself it was because you cared. I looked at her. What was it really? She whispered, because I was selfish. For the first time, Emily didn't make excuses. She didn't blame someone else. She didn't say she was misunderstood. She admitted it. I don't expect you to forgive me. I nodded. That's good. She looked surprised. Good. Yes. Why? Because forgiveness should be my choice. Emily became quiet. You really changed. I smiled slightly. No. She looked confused. I didn't change. Then what happened? I finally became myself. Those words felt more powerful than any revenge, because that was the thing I wanted most. Not to destroy Emily, not to make her suffer, just to stop losing myself. A week later, the university held the final fellowship interview. This time, I walked into the room alone, not as Emily's friend, not as someone's assistant, not as the person behind someone else's success. I was Nicole Parker. The committee asked about my research, my goals, my plans, and for the first time, I spoke confidently about my own achievements. When the interview ended, Professor Adams stopped me outside. "You did well. Thank you." He smiled. "You know what impressed me most?" "What?" "You didn't talk about proving anyone wrong." I looked at him. "You talked about what you wanted to create." I smiled, because he was right. My entire previous life had been about fighting against things. This life was about building something. 2 days later, the final results were announced. I received the fellowship. My name appeared at the top of the list. I stared at the email, not because I couldn't believe it, because I remembered the girl from my previous life. The girl who cried after losing this chance. The girl who thought she wasn't enough. I wanted to tell her something. You were never the problem. You just spent too much time proving other people deserved a chance. That evening, I received one final message from Emily. "Congratulations." I looked at it for a long time. Then another message appeared. "I know I don't deserve your friendship right now." I didn't reply immediately. A few minutes later, another message came. "But thank you for not becoming cruel because of me." I read that sentence carefully. Then I typed one response. "I hope you become someone you can respect." I didn't add anything else, because some relationships ended not with hatred, but with acceptance. Months later, my life was completely different. My research project expanded. I met new people. I created friendships based on respect instead of obligation. And one day, while walking past the library, I stopped. The place where everything changed. The place where I chose myself. I smiled, because I finally understood the meaning of rebirth. It wasn't about changing the past. It was about refusing to repeat it. But just as I thought my new life had finally settled, I received an invitation that would change my future again. An invitation from a company that had once ignored my work. And this time, they weren't asking for Emily. They were asking for me. The invitation arrived on a Monday morning. I almost ignored it, not because I wasn't interested, because I had learned not to let every opportunity immediately control my emotions. That was another thing that had changed. The old Nicole would have opened the email and immediately asked, "Who needs me?" The new Nicole asked, "What do I want?" I opened the message again. It was from Westbridge Research Group, a company known for working with universities on medical technology projects. They wanted to discuss my research. My first reaction was confusion. I had never contacted them. I had never submitted anything to them. So why were they interested in me? Then I saw the final line. "Professor Adams recommended you personally." I smiled. For the first time, someone was opening a door for me because of my own ability. Not because I was helping someone else. Not because I was standing behind another person. Because I was Nicole Parker. The meeting was scheduled for Friday. Before leaving, I looked at myself in the mirror. It was strange. I looked exactly the same. Same face. Same voice. Same person. But everything inside me was different. I remembered the Nicole from my previous life. She was always apologizing. Sorry for being busy. Sorry for saying no. Sorry for wanting something. She thought being needed meant being valued. She was wrong. Being valued meant people respected who you were, not just what you could do for them. The meeting went better than I expected. The director of research, Daniel Brooks, reviewed my work carefully. "I have to admit something," he said. I looked up. "What?" "When Professor Adams first sent your paper, I thought he was exaggerating." I smiled. "That doesn't sound like a compliment." He laughed. "It isn't. Not yet. He continued reading. But after reviewing your methodology, I understood why he recommended you. Why? Because your research doesn't just solve a problem, it asks a better question. That sentence stayed with me because my entire life had been about answering other people's questions. Why didn't you help? Why didn't you sacrifice more? Why can't you understand? Now, someone was recognizing the questions I created myself. After the meeting, Daniel offered me a position as a junior research consultant. A year ago, I would have thought this was impossible. Now, I accepted it without guilt. A few weeks later, I returned to campus for a research presentation. This time, the room was full. Students who once barely noticed me were asking about my project. Professors were discussing my ideas, and standing near the back of the room was Emily. I noticed her, but I didn't feel anger. That surprised me. A long time ago, seeing her would have brought back every painful memory, the lost opportunities, the betrayal, the years I spent putting her first. But now, she was just someone from my past. After the presentation ended, she approached me. "Congratulations." "Thank you." She smiled. "You really did it." "Yes." She looked around the room. "Everyone knows your name now." I nodded. "That's good." There was a small sadness in her expression. "I used to think if people noticed you, I would disappear." I looked at her, and now I realize your success never took anything from me. That was probably the biggest change in Emily. Not that she apologized, not that she admitted her mistakes, but that she finally understood. Someone else shining didn't mean her own light disappeared. "I've been thinking about something," she said. "What?" "Why did you forgive me?" I considered the question. The truth was, I didn't forgive her the way she wanted. I didn't erase what happened. I didn't pretend it didn't matter. I forgave myself first. Emily looked confused. For what? For allowing myself to disappear for so long. She became quiet. I continued. "I blamed you for everything before." "Were you wrong?" "No." She looked surprised, but I also blamed myself. I smiled. I thought being kind meant I had to accept everything. And now I know kindness without self-respect isn't kindness. Emily nodded slowly. "I hope I can become like you." I shook my head. "Don't become like me." "Why?" "Become someone you're proud of." For once she smiled. Not the perfect smile she showed everyone. A real one. Months passed quickly. My life became something I never imagined. I worked on research projects. I traveled for conferences. I met people who challenged me, people who respected me. Most importantly, I no longer felt like I had to earn my place. I already had won. One afternoon, I returned to the university library, the same library where I walked into after refusing to save Emily, the same library where I decided my life mattered. I sat at the same table, opened my laptop, and looked at the empty document in front of me. For some reason, I smiled, because if I had never gone there that day, if I had chosen the old path, I might have spent another lifetime trying to prove my worth to people who never asked me what I wanted. My phone rang. It was Daniel. "Nicole, we have a new project." I smiled. "What kind?" "A global research partnership." "That sounds serious." "It is." He laughed. "And we want you leading the student research team." I looked around the library, a place where my second life began. Okay. After hanging up, I closed my laptop. I didn't need to wonder what would happen next, because I finally understood. The future wasn't something waiting for me. It was something I created. Years later, people would ask me about the moment that changed my life. Some expected me to say it was winning the fellowship. Some thought it was joining Westbridge. Others believed it was exposing the truth about Emily. But they were wrong. The moment that changed everything was much simpler. It was the day someone begged me to choose them, and I chose myself instead. I went to the library, And that one decision gave me back an entire life. My life. My name is Nicole Parker. And this time, I was never anyone's shadow again.